Well, one thing I would work on is the text choice up here. You have Arial situated, which is all right in a sense, but it's a standard font. I want you to tap into your design, and I want you to think about other CSS that you can help enhance the overall design. Maybe it's opacity, maybe it's going in and adding a gradient or something, something a little bit different than just changing the font size and adding some padding. So one thing I want to suggest that you do is I want you to use go to Google Fonts. It's fonts.google.com. Take a look at different fonts that you can work with and find something that works for what you're doing. So let's say you want this font right here. You click on the plus sign to add it. Then what you do is you got to do two things. Every page has to have this link tag added. So what I'll do is I'll add it right here on my style sheet or in my products page. Then I go to index and do the same thing, and about do the same thing. Okay. Now the other thing you do is then you take this font hyphen family and you got to copy that over. And so here you have as Helvetica. So for the header section. So I'm going to paste that as this one. Now when I refresh and I come back over, you see how that works? It changes automatically. Now what I want to do is I want the subheading to be a different. So really, I really want this heading 1 to be a different style. So do you have that applying? Do you have a heading 1 tag? No. So what I'm going to do here is after the header, I'm going to do header H1. Okay. I'm going to move a couple things down. I'm going to move the font family. I'm going to bring the font size, because that's what you're really controlling. And in this case, I probably would also bring in the color as well. Okay, because you might want a different color for that. And you can delete these extra returns, for that. So when we do this, you see how it goes in and says Happy Paws, and it's just changed Happy Paws as that. So we know font size 16 points is too small. We want the heading to be 48 points. Somewhere around there. We'll see what this looks like. See how now what happens is you got all this space up here. You're not going to have room. That happens because of this padding top and bottom that you have up here. I think you definitely have to have some, but I'm going to change the padding top and bottom to 10 pixels. Okay, now what else do you have in here that might throw that off? A heading 1 tag is a block element, so it adds extra space above, below, and puts extra space on the left and right. So what I want to do is I want to take away that spacing. So I'm going to strip it by adding margin 0. And when I do that, it's moving this up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do header H2. Okay, now you could choose whatever font family you want to be a little bit different than what you have here. So you might want to do Arial, which is fine, for that purpose. So what I want to do is copy this stuff that's in here, and let's say you want to do, or you might want to go back in. You're not using any other fonts, are you? No. I'll just take this up here. Oops. Okay. Font size, you definitely want to make it low. I'm going to do down 24. I'm going to strip the margin as well. Okay. Now when I do that, see how that goes in? I think you really want that to stand out. The heading 1, I'd look at this the way it is. I probably would take the the font size for H2, probably take it down to 21, and then font size for heading 1, take it up to 40. This is where you kind of experiment. Yeah, something like that. And then definitely with Happy Paws, with that blue that you had in the background, I would definitely add like a text hyphen shadow. Do 1 pixel that you're offsetting it, and we can do a hashtag, whatever color you have for that main section. I'll use that. Might change it because I don't know what it's going to look like, but I want to try to keep the color scheme as close as possible. So it just adds that little glow around it. You know, we can always experiment here. You can do 3 and 3 if you really want to make it stand out. See how that goes. And again, I'm trying to add a little extra design into this to make it stand out for that purpose. Now for your products page, I'm going to give you a suggestion to be with a better layout. What I'm going to suggest that you do is you take your table, okay, I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to put it before the paragraph of text. Now I'm also, what I want to do is I'm going to give this table a specific name with an ID. I'm going to just name it table A. Now to go in, I'm going to come down here where it says table, where you're formatting your table, and I'm just going to do, to access that specific table, I'm going to say hashtag table A. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the table to float to the right of that paragraph that I just did. But what you have to do is you have to move the contents before that to tell it to be able to float. So I'm going to do float colon right semicolon. I might have to add some spacing in here. But what will happen is, see, it's going to move that table. So what I want to do, add a little margin, hyphen right, 10 pixels, margin hyphen left, 10 pixels. Just to start with something like that. See how you're adding the spacing. Now I want to move the table down. So what I'll do is I'll do margin hyphen top, maybe 20 pixels for this one. Okay. See how I'm moving it down, lining it up.